What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Coffee and Headphones. My name is Caleb, and this is usually a podcast where brothers talk about brother things, but as you can tell, today's a little bit different. It's just me. Trevor is out doing his thing, and it's been a while. I really wanted to talk about the Chicago Bulls, how last season ended, how this off season is going, and it felt like the perfect opportunity. So here we are. First off, I want to say thank you guys for giving us like a couple weeks to just chill. It's been a lot going on in both of our lives, so we really needed that after the season wrapped up. But I wanted to really talk about the Bulls today. Obviously, if you know me, you know I've been a fan for over a decade, and it is a hard time to be a Bulls fan, definitely. But I wanted to start off by talking about last season and some good things that happened. So, something really good was we finished 14-9 after the All-Star game. We got our defense up to the best defense in the calendar year of 2023, not including playoffs, of course, because we missed the playoffs. And DeMar still looked good. You know, I think we all expected him to come back down to earth a little bit after that MVP type season last year, but you know, he was an all-star again, still averaging close to a career high, and he looked really good for a 33-year-old basketball player. Zach LaVine found his stride after starting the season off slow, of course, with the injury, the surgery in the last offseason. They kind of slow played him. Didn't play back-to-backs for the first few weeks of the season, but he ended up being really good, especially after the All-Star break and at the turn of the calendar year. And then the other thing that I wanted to touch on was Kobe White. Looked really good for us. Definitely his best season all around, even if maybe his points was a little bit less. His role was reduced a bit coming off the bench for a lot of the season, but he looked really good. He obviously worked on his handles a lot. He wasn't turning the ball over, doing weird little traffic jam dribble moves. He worked on his defense a lot, and you could tell he had really matured as a player, and he knew that he had to if he wanted to stay on this team with Io kind of coming for a spot last year. Now, the bad stuff. As I mentioned, we did miss the playoffs, and a lot of that had to do with Lonzo Ball not playing at all last year, and he's not going to play at all this upcoming season either. We'll talk about that in a second, but that was obviously a big loss, especially since we didn't know that would be the case at all. We kept hearing that he was coming back before the season started, at the press conference, and then training camp started. Oh, he's not ready. Preseason started, he's not ready. He'll be here in 6 weeks. 6 weeks come and go, nothing. January comes and goes, nothing. February is shut down. So that really hurt. But the next thing that I wanted to touch on that was not good is we shot the fewest threes in the league. We attempted the fewest by over 100 three-pointers. That's unacceptable. You know, especially when you're shooting 36%. That's not a terrible percentage, but it's not great. And when you're only shooting less than 29 threes a game, you got to make more than that. That was something that we kept wanting AK and Eversley to address last offseason. They brought in Dragic and Drummond, and that didn't really help us. We waived Dragic, you know, about 2/3 or so through the season, and Drummond obviously is not a three-point shooter. Now, we ended up making the play-in tournament, the Pat Beverly effect, if you will, even though he's gone now. And we played well against the Raptors. Shout out to DeAr DeRozan. And we were up on the Heat with about 3.5 minutes left in the game. Ended up losing. Of course, the Heat went to the final. So what can you really say? We were not fit to be a playoff team last year. We just weren't, especially with the way that things went with Vucevic, who I really like, but he had a down season shooting the ball, especially from three, and he was out on the three-point line a lot. It felt like Billy didn't really know how to use him in the post, and they really did not know how to run the offense through him. Now, the reports are that Vooch demanded more touches before he re-signed with us. If that's true, good for Vooch. I would love to see the offense ran through him more as a Bulls fan. Whenever we did that the few times last season, we were playing really well. I remember there was one game, I think it was against the Wizards. Vooch had like 4 assists in one quarter because he kept running the offense on the high post, just like Jokic used to before he started bringing the ball up in Denver. if we see more of that from Vooch this year and from the offense, then I think we're in a much better spot. But let's start with the elephant in the room. Lonzo Ball. Um, Dude's career might be over, unfortunately. And that pains me as a Bulls fan. As a Lonzo fan, I've always been a fan of Lonzo Ball. He was the perfect signing. I was really hyped when we got him. But obviously, things have just not worked out after that first 35 games that he played with us. Dude's been injured, having a crazy injury that the doctors say that they've never seen before. That's really scary as a Bulls fan and as someone who has gone through having to put basketball and life on hold due to unforeseen health reasons. I feel for the guy. You know, I know what it's like to work so hard for something and then have that being taken away, not by choice. You hope with everything in you that he can get back on the floor one day, but right now it just seems like it's not happening. You know, at least not next year, it's not happening. So what did we do? Instead of trying to rebuild and max out on DeMar's potential, signing Trey Vucevic, maybe see what's up with Zach, you know, lean into Pat. We didn't do any of that. We signed Javon Carter, who I'm a fan of. I do like Javon Carter. I was happy when we got him, and I think the contract's nice. He's a really good player. I think he'll prove a lot of people wrong and show just how valuable he is. He might end up being the starter for us, especially since we lost Pat Bev to the Sixers. But we'll see what's up. If we're going to stay the course, like AK keeps saying, and we're not going to rebuild, I'm happy with the signings that we have made so far in the offseason. Being a 40-42 team last year, a lot of that was due to uncertainty. Is Lonzo going to come back? He wasn't officially shut down, so there was only a few weeks left in the season. And I think now having a clearer plan going into next season, we should be able to train for training camp and run plays around people who aren't Lonzo Ball a lot more. And hopefully with the new additions of Javon Carter and Torey Craig, right? Torey Craig, bringing back Kobe, bringing back Andre Drummond, we should have a nice little squad. Now, do I think this is the right move? No, I don't. Sadly, as much as I like Zach LaVine, as much as I like DeMar, Vucevic, Caruso, we're not going to win the championship with this team. We're not. We should rebuild, but due to all of the things that were invested in bringing in these players, Lauri Markkanen being traded away, Wendell Carter being traded away, first-round draft picks that turned into Franz Wagner, and so on and so forth, the front office was not willing to move on and call this a failure. And at the same time, the ownership is so cheap due to making so much money in the Jordan era that they're not willing to go into the tax luxury. So, having said that, I think we made the best with the cards that we were dealt, and I'm excited for next season. I do think we will be better than we were this past season. What does that look like? 6 seed? Maybe? Maybe a first round upset if we get the right matchup? I don't know. I'm sure time will tell as we get closer to the season. We also just applied for the disabled player exception. And at the time of recording that, we have not signed anyone for that $10.5 million. So if we do end up making a move there, hopefully for a starting point guard, then I'll be a little bit more optimistic. But honestly, what options are out there for us right now? Schroeder's gone, who was in that price range. D'Angelo Russell's gone, who was in that price range. I don't know. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, did he end up signing with the Timberwolves? It's not looking great for a point guard right now, but time will tell. We'll see. And we might end up running Caruso at point, running Javon Carter at point. Maybe even Kobe White gets to start again. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but those are just kind of my thoughts on the Chicago Bulls last season and offseason so far. My official prediction, keeping in mind that we do not have that final piece, is I think we're going to be in the play-in tournament again, but we will make it to the playoffs this next season. After that, if we don't trade DeMar halfway through the season, obviously I don't think DeMar will come back to a 500 team. He's getting up there in age and he's looking for his championship ring, so we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But in the meantime, I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you're a Bulls fan and this is your first time catching us, this is usually me and my brother talking about either basketball, media, entertainment, at Coffee and Headphones. We talk about everything. It's just brothers talking about brother things. But yeah, I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.